Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I am the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series. This is Don't Kick 'em Out 2.0. It's called the Playbook. It lists all of the powerful lessons that we've learned over 30 years as a professional, 18 years in business, partnering as an advisor, consultant, and trainer with multiple firms. I'm just so excited and so proud of the work we've done. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, what do you do? And I said, well, our company reduces risk. Anytime there are issues with behavior and school safety, the risk of the institution is extremely high. I always say I have one non-negotiable. School safety is non-negotiable. What I've learned in this business is that for a lot of people, safety is an opinion. Safety, what makes people feel safe and what makes others not feel safe is totally different. So what I have understand and what we have majored in the business is helping schools to reduce their risk. Success is about reducing risk. Getting good test scores is about reducing risk. So if you're looking at the world it has completely changed. The Department of Education is undergoing a tremendous amount of change. So I have made a business and made my life on being ahead of things, responding very well. COVID it did put most people out of business. Our business grew in a pandemic. And now you're starting to see many pandemics that we've had since 2020. You're talking about a government closure. Okay, you're talking about a winter storm that's going to take us out of school for essentially 7 to 10 days. Well, that's a whole reset. That's another COVID. When these crises come up, you got things that are going on in the state of Minnesota. Man, these are real things. Man, they have an impact on safety, security, teaching, learning, like border issues, deportation issues. Those are real issues in communities, right? Those are real issues. And so our firm has mastered reducing risk. And so all we have done is continue to look for partners and be available for the people that really want to take their organization to a level where it neutralizes behavior. In this climate, you're going to have to master the art of academics and testing. You're not going to be able to be one of those schools that still has behavior issues and social and emotional issues as the reason you can't learn. That dog won't hunt. And I am going to be the one to tell you to your face, that dog's not hunting. When I said, don't kick him out, I came up with it in 2005. I think the first book was in 2014. People automatically assumed this was under one of those ideas about just keep kids in school based on ethnicity. This book isn't about this. Don't kick them out. The first thing, there are principles that don't kick them out. It is not based on just don't put kids out because of their racial dynamic or their social standing or because of their trauma. When I said don't kick them out, I said it's a process. What's the first process? What I started to see is a lot of kids get written up because you have horrible adult structures. I can't make this up. I was at a school in the great state of Ohio, dear friends. And just so y'all know me and get to understand, I have some regions that I have been blessed to do very well. They're partner regions with me. They've been a part of my entire journey. The great state of Ohio is one. Louisiana is one. Illinois is another. California is another. New York is another. These are states. Texas is another. Michigan is another. These are core states that have been along with me, been major supporters of me my entire journey. Tennessee is one. Right. I got love, what's up, Toronto, Canada. These are places that we've been able to do some great work. But one of the things that I was at that school and we were discussing a kid that, needed to be removed because of their conduct. And the dean stated that they were uncomfortable with sending the kid home because they know the problems that are being created in that classroom are because of the adult. The adult's not following through. The kid is falling into the trap. And now the adult is writing the kid up to send them home. That's where Don't Kick 'Em Out came from. I, like no other, I read referrals. I've been reading referrals for decades. I'm a paperwork guy because juvenile guy sending things to the court. So I read paperwork. I read offenses because you don't go in front of a judge and you're trying to keep a kid for 2 years based on behavior and your paperwork is all. So that's what I do. What did you write on that paper? And that's what I started to see. I'm reading these referrals. You can't kick a kid out because I can't deal with them today. You can't kick them out because they got a bad attitude. Tell me where's the behavior because I must know what to fix. So the first thing in Don't Kick them out, the D, is understanding structure, right? What is the structure? What structure do you have in place within your organization? So it's like behavior. Where's my notes? Behavior is a system. So the first thing that I like to look at to find out if it's any good is your structure in place? That's the first thing I like to look at. Is your structure in place? The second part of Don't Kick them out is, do you know your students? The knowledge of the student. Do you know your personnel? I mean, the more you know about your kid tells you how to coach them. We have gotten so messed up on empathy and sympathy. We think we're helping a kid who has a really jacked up life, and we think giving them passes is the help. We think not holding you accountable is making you a better person. When we're creating a culture of enablement, we're the problem. That means you don't know the kid, right? We always ask, do you believe that this kid can learn? And when you start getting down to the nitty gritty belief, you find that many adults do not believe this kid can learn. They don't believe this kid can go beyond their circumstances. That's why I said don't kick them out. I'm a professional disciplinarian. I believe in you have to go home. And I have written the behavior chart which states we cannot manage that behavior. Now, here's the deal. You listen to me or you listen to these other people, because what I'll never do, I'll never get you kicked in the tail. I'll never have you on the news. I'll never have you in a situation where you let something go safety-wise. That's why I wrote in my list years ago. There are behaviors that we cannot manage. And if we mismanage them, we create a culture of unsafe. Kids hitting kids, throwing stuff, busting glasses. Teachers got one teacher breaking up a fight, got a broken shoulder. One got a broken nose. This is in my career. And y'all sitting here talking about 3 days. No, your program. That's why we talk about structure. You got to know what discipline is and what discipline is not. I'm not hung up on punishment, but I am hung up on order. I am hung up on structure. And I cannot be a school leader that raises all my risk. You have to learn how to reduce risk. And behavior infrastructure reduce risk and create safety, right? And then you're talking about don't kick them out. You're talking about T. Talking about trusting relationships. Well, what is that? Culture with the adults and with the kids. Do they trust you? Right? Do they trust you? Do they trust you? That's my question. Do they trust you? Do the families trust you? When you got to call Miss Erickson and you got to give her some bad news and she's going to fuss and do all that food, Miss Erickson, I'm going to listen to you, but you can't talk to me like that. Do she trust you? Or they going to fight you? That's don't kick them out. And the most important one is the kid is responsible for their behavior. So if you have a school and you're not teaching behavior, you are the problem. Here's the deal. They asked me, Dr. Jackson, do you believe in PBIS? Do you believe in restorative practices? Everybody's behavior model in the last 30 years, I have all of their books in my office. I study what other people are doing. And they say, do you believe in it? PBIS is sound research, right? PBIS is sound research. It absolutely works. The thing is, it's designed by its infrastructure. It's designed to work certain places. I am a firm believer. Now, once again, there are exceptions to every rule. I do not believe, but see, here's the key. That's why I say you got to know your students and you got to know your community. You have to know what type of community you have, because based on the community you have, any model could be suitable to your community. I don't believe in most of the communities I work with, which are suburban, rural, and inner city, where I work with all, but in those percentiles, I don't think that PBIS works for the higher grades, right? It does work in the inner city, but what is it predicated on? It's predicated on the personality and intensity of the person that's the facilitator. And so in any behavior policy, that's why you have to train the people. It's not about the policy. It's not about the theory of just doing the practice. You have to develop the people. If you want to change human behavior, you have to develop the humans that you want to enforce behavior policies. And that is what has been the biggest flaw in the game. It is the reality of where the adults are that you're asked to discipline children. I'll leave you on this point. I had a parent that got cussed out by her kid. Kid's like 11 or 12. I jumped on the kid. I snapped on the kid. I didn't like what I heard. You're not going to ever talk to your mother like that. Definitely not around me. Now, she ain't got to say nothing, but I checked him. I just trigger for me. Disrespect is a trigger, meaning you're disrespecting your parent. That's a no fly with me. And I live like that behind those juvenile walls. I made my men respect their mama and daddy while I was there. And I know what issue you might have with them, but you're going to respect them in front of me. And so her kid went over the line, some language or some of it was ridiculous. Checked the kid and after it was over, she talked to me and she's crying. And I said, why you let him talk to you like that? And she said, Dr. Jackson, I don't want him to be mad at me. That's it. That's don't kick him out in a whole nutshell. It's the condition of the adults. We have principals that are like that. We have superintendents that don't want people to be mad at them. Okay. We have superintendents that don't want people to be mad. So they won't do what they need to do because they don't want the workers mad at them. I got principals won't do what they need to do because they don't want the workers mad at them. I got teachers that won't do what they need to do because they don't want kids mad at them. Oh my God. And you know, I have parents that won't do what they need to do because they don't want a kid mad at them. Man, that's tough. That's hurtful. That's tough. It's true. That's why I wrote Don't Kick Them Out. This is why, guys, after 20 years, I'm still here training on these principles, this way of life, right? This is a way of life. So you could be a PBIS school, but if you're not learning how to develop your personnel and develop the people in your building and develop the adults beyond their emotions, their sympathy for kids and things like that, you're going to lose. And that's what we have seen is the issue. So the Don't Kick Them Out book and training series is still here 20 years later because the basis of it is personal development. To run an organization that develops children, you have to have strong adults. You have to have team culture. You have to have people working together. That's the way it works. The way behavior works in the organization is really simple. You got to have the admin sets the tone. They give the tone to the teachers. They got to have the teachers back. They got to build the teachers up. Once the teachers can get built up, they can push the enforce that on those kids with consistency every day. And then we retrain our parents. That is what corrects behavior permanently. No gimmick. No, Jackson, we want to see if it works. That always works. Admin, this is what it is. This is what we stand for. Here's our structure. Here's the no fly. Teachers, this is what I'm expecting you to do. I got your back. Do your job. Students, this is how you become a student. This is how you become a young person. This is how you develop into an adult. Here's what's acceptable. Here's what's not. That's the standard. Parents, if you're not going to help us, don't hurt us. But here's what we pushing. And we need your help. And if you're not going to help us, don't hurt us. It's a program. It's supposed to work because it's common practice sense. In education, a major part of education is personal development. People have to grow and get better. We have a society full of all these broken people, and we wonder why schools just keep dropping off. We wonder why we're seeing a decompensation in morals and the way we do things and things that are acceptable, because people are getting worse. People are not getting developed. Families fall apart. Wisdom doesn't fall down the chain. And so people are raising themselves with TikTok videos, social book posts, and what somebody told them in the teacher lounge. Testify. Oh, testify. That's what's going on. So, hey, don't kick them out. It's back. And what I'm doing that I'm going to continue to do and roll out. I'm doing, taking don't kick them out to certain of my baseline states. I'm going to be there for a month. You need what's called a reset. You need a behavior reset. It's 90 days. It's where it's us working together for the next 90 days, multiple trainings for your team. Starts with admin, trickle down to the teacher, and then reset the students. 90 days, going into testing, going into next year, going into the summer. You know what you need to do. You need a don't kick them out team reset, right? We have a few reset dates available, but if you need to reset your program, reset your building, then you need to call me today. And what I'm saying right now, I'm being very clear. Every superintendent, whether you call me or not, which is at least 100 of you, it's 20,000 people watching me, but at least 100 of you need to call me directly and reset your organization. How does that look, superintendent? First thing you do is you bring in your central office, because a lot of behavior policies are being lost right at the top. Bringing your central office, bringing your principals. Sometimes we can do them together. Sometimes you can't. I don't know, but I would need to talk to you to see if, to get a feel for what's going on there. Start with your admin team. And then that's where your reset needs to occur. So everybody needs a different reset, right? What type of reset do you need in your organization? Do you need a reset within your teachers? Do you need a reset within your admin? That's what I'm here to do. It's a 90-day team reset. Based on don't kick them out. It's getting behavior, team culture, and behavior under control so we can make sure we can reach all of our academic and school goals. I am here to help you take advantage. My information is below. Register for your day now.